What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers trade already looks like a home run for the Lakers, right? I mean, the deal that they got for as little as they gave up is just ridiculous. And this team already is adding so much excitement and joy and just looks so much better. I mean, they already look like a team that's played together for some time. The ball's moving, it's not sticking. Guys are stepping up, playing big. LeBron James and Anthony Davis don't even really have to show up. Like, they just are kind of there, and their impact is not as great as it needs to be usually. And of course, we know LeBron James and Anthony Davis at any time can just go and dominate the game of basketball. We know that, we've seen it. But to be able to play under 30 minutes, and yes, it's only been a handful of games. We'll see how it goes. But this team just looks and feels so much different, right? The previous team was like an okay team that could be good if things go right? We saw moments, we saw big games. It was like, okay, if everything's clicking, like, this team can definitely win some games. But now you look at this team and you're just like, okay, this is a good team that could be great, maybe even special, if things go right? You still have a long row ahead. We still got to build that chemistry. And there are moments where you can see that lack of chemistry where guys are just not in the right place, or miscommunications and stuff. But that'll come, that'll improve. Again, been a handful of games, but still, it's a great sign given that this team was just thrown together. And their floor is already better than very likely the ceiling of the previous team. Because the previous team, it was like, okay, if we can just get into the playoffs, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, we have a chance, right? They can give us an opportunity to win on any given night. Now it's like, oh, if we get into the playoffs, like, we could beat any team. Like, I really like our odds, right? It's not just going to be on Anthony Davis and LeBron James, right? We got several guys that can contribute and have big nights and maybe even single-handedly change the tide of a series. And D'Lo has already shown that ability to be the third guy, and so far has fit in rather seamlessly, right? Jared Vanderbilt's all over the place. Dude has been absolute monster on the defensive end and just hounding, being aggressive, going for rebounds and just altering things. It's just really good to see, really fresh to see, just that high energy, that high motor. And then there's Malik Beasley. And Malik Beasley started off a little rocky, right? Did have that one game where he shot like 50% from three. He was like, 6 of 12, I think, or something like that, or 5 of 10, somewhere in that ballpark. But it was kind of like, it was in the Blazers game where we were kind of getting blown out. He was just kind of taking shots at the end. He didn't start the game very well. He kind of just got hot at the tail end. And, the Pelicans game, a little rocky. But then he just exploded, right? I mean, and showed you everything that this guy can be. Gave us 25 points on 9 of 16 shooting, 7 of 11 from the three-point range. Gave us 3 steals, played some solid defense. He was a plus 26. I mean, the guy did everything. And he did it in 26 minutes. Again, everybody, there's not a single player in that Warriors game that played more than 27 minutes. Dennis Schroeder played 27 minutes. Everyone else, LeBron, Beasley, and Davis played 26 minutes. And that's what you want to see, right? And Beasley, even when he's not hot, right? Even when he's not shooting 7 out of 11, you see his impact on the court. You see how defenses have to go close out, have to stay with him. They can't leave him open. But the beauty of Beasley is he's not just let me wait here and catch the ball, right? He is constantly on the move. He's a guy that goes and chases his shot, as it's put, right? He's a guy that, okay, I'm here. No, nothing. Okay, let me go over here. No, nothing. Let me get over here. No, nothing. Let me get over here. Oh, now I'm wide open. Boom. There's the pass. Quick catch and shoot. And he's money, right? And he has done a great job of just putting so much pressure on the defense with this constant movement, as well as being able to put the ball on the floor as well, right? We saw on several occasions, not even just in the Warriors game, but throughout the course of these handful of games that he's played, we've seen his ability to, let the defender run by, take a step in, or, pump fake, take the defender off the dribble, get in, operate in that mid-range, and still knock it down, right? Like, that is a huge ability in and of itself. A guy that doesn't need full setup. Yes, you can set him up, and he's going to knock it down at an efficient clip. But if you do just give him the ball, he can go make something happen if you need him to. And again, that is a very valuable trait in and of itself, because he's not just a shooter, right? The Lakers need shooters, no doubt. And he is a shooter, but he's more than that with his ability to create, which is a valuable asset. And we have several other guys now that can shoot. And it just looks like a different Lakers team with the ability to knock down the three ball. I mean, we shot 53% from three, 16 of 30. Not saying that that's going to happen every game, but I do think we could get with, Beasley and Reeves and Russ, and even Dennis Schroeder has the ability to knock it down. Rui Hachimura can knock it down. Mo Bamba shoots at a 40% clip. He shot 50%, right? You got Troy Brown. He's a guy that can knock down a couple threes at a reasonable clip, shooting 40%. Even Lonnie Walker, right? He's a guy that can come in and knock it down at an efficient clip. So I really do think that this is a team that can move into the higher tier of the three-point percentage, right? Like we were, 30% three-point shooting, 32% three-point shooting. Like I could see us being maybe 36%, 35%, somewhere in that ballpark at the minimum, maybe even better, just with the efficiency. But here's the thing. Malik Beasley, he is a volume shooter. So he's going to have games like this. I've talked about it on this channel several times. He's a guy that is either going to be 2 of 11 or he's going to be, like he was last night, 7 of 11. But even when he's not hitting shots, his abilities and the draw that he pulls is massive. And we even saw in the Warriors game, he got a lot of wide open looks. I mean, he's been getting looks this entire run, not just the Warriors game, but this entire run. He's been getting looks that he's never gotten. And that's an adjustment period in and of itself. When you go from having to shoot with pressure or guys on in your face because teams can stick with you because you're on several teams that just don't have a LeBron James and Anthony Davis that put pressure on the rim, it changes everything, right? So then that becomes an adjustment. And Malik Beasley, I really think once he starts getting more comfortable, we're going to see a lot more of these 7 and 11 games because LeBron James and Anthony Davis force the defense to have to pack the paint. Because if you don't, LeBron James is just going to walk and get 50 points, and you're not going to be able to keep up. Or they're just going to dump it down to Anthony Davis, and you put Anthony Davis with anyone on an island, he's gonna beat you, and he's gonna go get 50 points. And Dennis Schroeder, same thing. He's a guy. If you allow him to beat you, and you don't pack the paint, he's going to be able to get into the paint and get some layups. We've seen that from him all season, even the game against the Warriors. So because of that, you now have Beasley, who's out there floating around, constantly moving, not just standing in a corner still for 24 seconds. He's moving. He goes from side to side. He goes to the front. He goes to the weak side, the strong side. He's all over the court, and so it puts so much pressure. Even the announcer, commentator in yesterday's game talked about, he's one of the few guys in the categories of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Pools that run off of those screens and can catch and shoot so great. And you see how quick his release is. You see how quick he can get his shot off. He's a guy that has a shot that I don't think the guy's ever seen a shot that he didn't like, but that's fine. That's why he's here. Shoot the ball. If you can get your shot off, shoot it. That's why they brought him in, to be that lethal shooter, whether he's starting, coming off the bench. I do believe he'll continue to start. But I'm saying, even if for whatever reason, say next season, say we get somebody else that comes in and we have Beasley, and Beasley is the guy, the first shooting guard off the bench, shoot the ball, right? I don't want to see him take just silly shots. He does force shots at times, and even he yesterday, right? That was a big point of topic where he even in his interview, they asked him about it, where he just took a bad shot, ran over to coach, was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, my bad, I shouldn't have shot that." And he said, "I don't want you turning anything down but your collar," right? That's why you're here, shoot the ball. And I do agree, shoot the ball. If you believe you can get your shot off, shoot the ball. But I don't want to see him just carelessly force stuff, right? Because there is bad shots and bad possessions and things that could go bad. But for the most part, he's gotten a lot of good shots. Even the one game where he went like 2 of 7, he had like 4 of those just completely go all the way down and pop out. Like, he's getting good looks, good shots, good opportunities. And I really do think that is only going to improve as he continues with this Lakers team. Because again, you have so many guys that apply pressure that the defense has to account for. You can't go, if Beasley gets hot, and we saw that in this game, right? If Beasley gets hot, you can't double team him. Because if you double team him, that means LeBron James, Anthony Davis, we didn't have D'Lo that game, but Dennis Schroeder, Rui Hachimura, all of these guys that can all create and get their own buckets. Austin Reeves, right? I mean, he had 17 points on a perfect shooting night in 19 minutes. All these guys are getting just whatever they want in such limited time. I mean, seriously, we had 8 guys in double figures, and only Dennis Schroeder played 27 minutes? That's insane. Absolutely insane to think about that. And the ball movement and the way that the ball doesn't stick. Again, we had a 30 assist night. We are averaging 30 assists per game. That is Warrior Dynasty numbers. Like with KD and Steph, and when Steve Kerr was like 30 assists or more type thing. Like, we are averaging that. That is fantastic. And we're doing a good job of taking care of the ball. We had 14 turnovers last night, but we had 6 in the first quarter. So we went from 6 in the first quarter to 8 the rest of the game. We are giving the ball and sharing the ball a lot more, which is giving the offense just an even easier, more natural flow. And that's also one of the reasons that LeBron James and Anthony Davis don't have to give you 40 a night, right? Like, that is the significant difference. And because of that, this team is going to have a lot of success. I did a video called Lakers by the Numbers, and that video, I break down all the numbers, which like 90% of those are based on the previous team. And the Lakers were already 7th in the league in total offense. So them being 7th in the league, they're going to be what now? Top 3? Top 5 maybe? Not only do we still have the fast pace, and we can play in the fast pace if we need to, and we're still great in transition, but we also have a half-court game, which we didn't have. We had 0 half-court offense this previous stretch of games before the trade. And a lot of that has to go with D'Lo and his ability to change pace and operate. And LeBron James is still LeBron James, but it also helps when you have a guy in Malik Beasley who you can just drive and kick, find him wide open or in a pocket to where he can get a shot off, and more times than not, he's going to knock it down. We are going to see, in my opinion, a lot more of these 7 and 11 games. Again, he is a volume shooter. He is up in the upper echelons he's like 7th in the league in 3-pointers made, and in the top 1 percentile as far as like percentages equating to makes, right? So he's an efficient volume shooter, right? And one of the things is when you're talking about shooting, you're talking about guys that shoot the ball, you see a lot of guys, they'll be like 35, 36, maybe even 40%, right? You see a lot of guys like 40%. Troy Brown is an example of this, right? Troy Brown is a guy, give you like 40%, but he takes like 3 attempts per game. It's one thing when a guy is averaging 40% from 3 and he's taking 2 shots a game. If he makes one of them, or if he has, all he needs is, a handful of games where he goes 2 for 2 from 3 and now he's 40% plus, right? And it's a much different when you have a guy like Beasley who's taking 10 a game and he's shooting at like a 40% clip. That is huge, huge. So this is a guy that's going to have a lot of games like this because he's going to get looks and shots that he's never gotten. And again, as I mentioned earlier, that is an adjustment in and of itself. When you're used to taking 3-point shots with hands in your face and, you have to quick release and you don't really have time to all of a sudden, I am wide open. You see it all the time in the NBA. A guy will catch a pass and he's wide open and it's almost like he doesn't know what to do. And more times than not, they miss those shots. I mean, LeBron had one, right? In the game where he just had too much time because you're thinking about it, right? Rather than just catching and shooting it because you're like, oh, wait, there's nobody here. There's nobody in front of me. You're used to repetitions. You're used to always having somebody in your face. So when you go from that to all of a sudden you're shooting 7 wide open threes a game and there is nobody around because you got a LeBron James and Anthony Davis that were able to create that for you, it's a completely different game for you. And so that in and of itself is an adjustment period. And I imagine because of as good of a shooter as he is, that's going to resolve itself. And we're going to see a lot more of these 7 and 11 games. But I really like this. I really like this team. I really like Malik Beasley. I really like what we've been seeing. But as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think of Malik Beasley? Do you like him? Do you love him? Do you want to see more? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.